Here we are again. Orchid, how you doing tonight?
Good.
Good. You got a new shirt tonight.
Yeah.
You're very excited about that.
Yeah.
Got your Daniel Bryan shirt. Yeah. I'm back. I think folks have seen this one, my Andre the Giant. I'm very old, so I do the very old. You're very young, so you do the very young.
Yep.
Let's jump into our 3 topics for tonight. First one, we're going to start out with the Women's Evolution pay-per-view coming up. What are your thoughts?
I'm excited to see how it goes. I'm a little nervous that it's not going to do as well as normal pay-per-views.
You know, it never crossed my mind. I don't know. I think that it probably will. Mm-hmm. I think because it's a curiosity, people want to see it for the first time and see how it goes. So I'm not sure. My question, I guess, is in my own mind, and I'll see what your thoughts are. Do you think this even happens if Ronda Rousey isn't signed?
I don't know. I mean, the revolution wasn't happened before Ronda Rousey started. So, I mean, possibly I think that they might have gotten there. I don't know if it would have happened as soon, though.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. I think that, like some examples, the Women's Royal Rumble match, it main evented the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, and I don't think, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think that it main evented if it wasn't for Ronda Rousey walking out at the end. So,
yeah.
I
agree with that.
You've heard me say time and time again, I'm a big fan of Rousey being in the company. I think she respects wrestling and loves wrestling. And even though maybe in your mind and maybe some fans' mind she hasn't earned that spot, I think her previous work as being a legitimate star outside of wrestling has afforded her that spot. So as a female, do you feel any type of particular emotion of pride or anything like that? Or are you at all bothered by the fact that why are they separating the women? Why can't they just be equal and on the same shows with the men? Or you think this is a good step in the right direction?
I didn't really think about it being a bad thing that they got their own show. I'm excited to see what they do. I prefer men's wrestling to women's wrestling. I mean, I'm all about feminism and women power, but I don't know. I just enjoy men matches more than women matches.
Okay. I always felt that way for 40 plus years, but I'll tell you, I mean, some of these women now, I mean, they are incredible. Sasha Banks and Bayley and
Charlotte Flair.
Charlotte Flair is really we've not seen her a ton yet, but when Rousey comes out, it's really fun. So Becky Lynch is really, really over. She's not the greatest wrestler in the world, but Carmella, is what she's doing is really, I mean, to me, it really works on television. I think that, who's the champ on Raw? What's her name? The little blonde girl?
Alexa Bliss.
Like, she's, people really seem to, she does nothing for me. I mean, I don't get excited when I see her on television because I don't particularly care for her wrestling, but she's over and you can't argue with that. So, yeah, I'm curious too. I hope it works out well.
Do you think that they will have enough content to fill an entire show? Like, is it going to be a 7-hour show, how all other pay-per-views seem to be, or is it going to be a 3-hour show like
I think it'll be a 4-hour show.
Okay.
I think they're going to bring up girls from NXT.
Yeah, they are. They're doing a title match, the women's title match. That will be on there.
What about second breakfast?
Oh, you even asked me if I turned it up. Whoops. We'll turn that down real quick. Sorry, everybody. But anyway,
content-wise, do you think there's going to be enough?
I do. I think that they may even bring in some surprises. They've already advertised Trish and Lita, and I think we'll probably see the Bellas come back. We'll see some stuff. I think they'll get plenty of time.
Yeah.
And honestly, they really needed to kill time. I honestly believe that if they wanted to put Sasha and Bayley in a match and said, fill an hour, I think the two of them could do it. So I think they can get to the 4-hour mark, which is more wrestling than I want to see even at Mania at this point.
Right.
But it is what it is. So let's move on to the next one. This one is enough to make me crazy, and I'm not an anti-Roman Reigns guy, but here we go again. Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam.
Yeah. I'm disappointed that Bobby Lashley didn't win. I really was excited to see what would happen with Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. I don't know why they didn't do that. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I realize that Roman Reigns moves the needle. Maybe he's not, the most popular guy or the most hated guy, but people are curious when he's in the ring. They want to see him, and maybe they don't feel like they built up that much interest in Bobby Lashley yet. I'm not sure, but I mean, I know we haven't seen it 100 times, but it's starting to feel like it's been 100 times.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just enough,
Yeah.
I'm actually going to root for Reigns to win at SummerSlam, so hopefully it's over.
We don't have to see it again.
Just so it's over. Let it
Right.
be over. It's like
Right.
this. It's almost like watching the Hunger Games movie. Like at first it was really cool, and the second time, yeah, it was still pretty cool. But by the last Hunger Games movie, you're like, all right, we get it. They're hungry. So it's just
Right.
I've had enough. I've had enough. I think most fans sort of feel that way. One more, and then we're gonna move on to our big topic of the day for you and I. Rusev's babyface turn and the way they did it on SmackDown last night. What do you think?
I am happy he's a babyface now, or at least it seems he's a babyface now. I do not enjoy. I don't hate Lana. I like Lana. I don't really care for wrestling, but I like Lana as a promo person. But I really like Aiden English. Like I know that they're gonna do something with Aiden English and Rusev, and they're probably gonna do a feud with those two, which will be fun. But I mean, you can get a lot more out of Aiden English and Rusev, and like carry on with them for a while yet. I mean, people are not bored of Aiden English and Rusev together yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that the best time to break something up in wrestling
Is before it goes bad.
is before it dies out. So this is sort of a good jumping off point, I think. I'm really curious to see how the thing they did on SmackDown this week, which, I'm not always like overly enamored with Rusev, but I thought the business that they did with the end of his match and the promo that immediately after, I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I thought it was good television. And when you're talking WWE, that's the best you can hope for is good television. It was good television. So I'm curious to see where it goes. I don't have a ton of confidence in the writing team there that it's going to play out into something great, but no, we'll wait and see. We'll see what happens. Our last topic for the day, normally we do 5, but this one might take a few minutes, so we're going to run through it. I haven't even put any thought on how we're going to present this, but what you and I talked about last week, today, is we are going to discuss if we had to start fresh and new with a new company, and we could only pick guys from Raw and SmackDown, who are the 5 that we would pick? So, for you, who would be your number 1 pick?
Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan. Why?
I think he gets over with the crowd really well, and he's a great wrestler.
Okay. All right. I'm going to tell you who my number 1 is. My number 1. I didn't put them in any order, so I got to think for a second. My number 1 is going to be Seth Rollins.
Okay, yeah.
Seth Rollins, and here's why. Where Daniel Bryan, I feel like, is maybe on the downhill end of his career, I still feel like there's upward mobility for Seth Rollins. Like, he can be the next guy if they let it happen.
Right.
If they let it happen, that'll be the next thing. But, like, his babyface work, it's as good as any that I've seen in a very long time. So, for me, that's my number 1.
I don't have Seth Rollins on my list at all.
What?
Yeah, there's just so many people to pick from.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you that Seth Rollins would be a great pick. Like, I'm kind of regretting not putting him on here, but I mean,
you can only do 5.
Yeah.
Who you got number 2?
Randy Orton.
Randy Orton, another old guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Why Randy Orton?
I've always liked Randy Orton, and the promo he had last night I thought was really good.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. And I've always enjoyed everything that he's done. Not everything. I didn't really enjoy the Bray Wyatt stuff, but for the most part, he does good stuff. And I think that's something, like, if you could have somebody that can turn nothing into great work, I think.
Yeah, I was so all in on Randy Orton 10 years ago. I thought this guy is on the verge of being the next Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, he was so hot and so over as a babyface. And then he failed a drug test. and got taken off TV for 2 months, and they were always worried, I guess, about pushing him to that same level, and he never got that same level. But like there was a moment in time where like he was just so white hot that they could have just put the company on his back and took off, but he screwed it up. So I don't have Randy Orton on my list, but I think he's a good pick. I do like Randy Orton a lot. My number 2, it would be Roman Reigns. Now I know I just complained about Roman Reigns, but I think that the problems with Roman Reigns are not Roman Reigns related. It's booking related. I think that he looks like a superstar coming down the ramp. He has consistently good matches. I'm with Roman Reigns. I worry that he's never going to get over the way they want, but they have no one to blame with themselves at this point. They've used him so poorly.
I agree. Even some of his promos are fairly...
Oh, his one from Monday night was good, really good, yeah. Yeah, when they let him be him and let him do what he does, he can do it. I think
and they need to stop giving him the same match over and over again. You said about Brock Lesnar, but Bobby Lashley,
yeah, it was a repeat match. Yeah, we saw that a lot. So yeah, and I think unfortunately for the next year, we're gonna see that match a few more times. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're not doing very well by him, and I think that he sort of reached a level of John Cena where even if people want to like him, it's so cool to boo Roman Reigns that he's never going to... I mean, there's not going to be a time where people are really with him as the top babyface.
Right.
So, who you got number 3?
My number 3 is Rusev.
Ugh, Rusev.
You enjoyed his match last night.
I did. I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
He's a good mid-card guy.
And you just said the segment with him was really good last night, too.
It was very well done, yes. That doesn't mean I would want him in my top 5 or even my top 10. And I don't dislike him. I'm not saying throw him off WWE. I'm just saying, for me personally,
What about when he first debuted and was like, he was evil, and he ran through everybody?
Yeah.
Would you have had him top 10 then? Top 5?
No, I think he's a great mid-card guy. I'd say keep him in WWE for the next 8 to 10 years. I think he's a good utility guy, but to me, I don't see the main event potential. And if we're picking 5 guys that are main event, I can't see it. So that's just my opinion.
Okay.
My number 3 would be AJ Styles. Holy smokes, is that dude over?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't love him in the way the fans do. Like, there's other guys that I enjoy watching more than AJ Styles. But week in and week out, there's very few guys on television get the reaction that AJ Styles does.
Yeah.
And if I'm trying to fill a building and I'm trying to sell merchandise, AJ Styles is a guy that I want.
Yeah.
So
he's a guy I don't have on my list. But he was also a guy that I was, like, there was so many that, like, I was just like, I could put them on my list, but, like, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Who you got number 4?
Number 4 I have Shinsuke Nakamura.
Nakamura. Okay. You know, I've been a huge fan of Nakamura for years before he even came over to the United States. Like, I loved his work in New Japan. So, like, I'm one of those nerds. But I don't have him on my list. And it's just because I don't feel like his style, what he does, works here in WWE. I think it can work in the United States, but it worked well in NXT. But I don't know. It just doesn't work well on television because of the commercial breaks and because of the way the time limitations that he's given. To me, I just don't know. You like him better as a heel or a babyface?
Heel.
Okay, and I agree with that. Here he works better as a heel, but to me, like, I don't see a ton of his merchandise, and I don't know if the casual fan is staying tuned in based on Nakamura. So that's just my opinion. I can see why people love Nakamura, but if I'm starting my own top 5 where I've got to build a brand and fill a building, I don't know that Nakamura is a guy that I'm picking. So, okay, my number 4, Braun Strowman. I think that for whatever reason he has such a universal appeal. People are really with him. In some ways, you can say he's the number 1 babyface right now. You know, they try to trick us into saying that Roman Reigns is the number one babyface, and that's sort of the way he's used.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in reality, if you ask Vince McMahon in private who the number one babyface in his company is, he's probably going to say Braun Strowman. He's used Braun Strowman as a number one babyface the way he's been booked. So, speaking of Braun, I hope that going back to SummerSlam, we talked about that. I really hope he cashes in and he doesn't pin Roman. He pins Brock Lesnar. Like, he comes out right at the beginning of the match, like, I'm part of this as a three-way match, and he just bowls them both over.
I don't think that will happen, though.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think so either. It'd be very nice. What do you think about Braun as a top 5 guy? Do you have him on your top 5?
I don't. He's another one of the guys that I was just like, do I put him in there or do I not put him in there?
Yeah.
I enjoy him. The last couple of weeks I haven't really, like, he hasn't...
The Kevin Owens stuff hasn't worked for you?
Yeah, I mean, it did a little bit, but, like...
Okay. All right.
Not really. I mean, I do like Braun Strowman. I think he's a good wrestler, but I don't know.
Okay. Who you got? Last one, number 5.
Last one, I put Lesnar. But I only want Lesnar if he's Lesnar. Like, he can't be just some guy that looks like Lesnar, acts like Lesnar, looks like wrestles like Lesnar. He has to be Lesnar, like, the fame-wise. Because I think if we're starting an indie company and just, like, going with it, you need somebody. And I think that a lot of fans want to see Lesnar still. Even though they hate him, I think a lot of fans want to see him.
I definitely want to see him. I think that's a great pick. He never crossed my mind. So I probably, in retrospect, should have put him on my 5 because, like, he's a star. And the way that Ronda Rousey is a star and The Rock is a star, Lesnar is a star.
Right.
And if you're going to fill a building, you need stars. You don't need wrestlers. You need stars. Stars sell buildings out. And, yeah, that's a great pick. I agree wholeheartedly. So,
if it was my top 5, like, wrestlers, I would not put Lesnar on there. But
okay, that's fair enough.
Company.
And my last one is I think the only one that you and I sort of crossed over on was Daniel Bryan. I still think, even though he's, on the downside of his run, I still think if he can stay healthy, he's got another good 3 to 4 years left in him, at least, of really good matches. I don't know what it is. He has such a unique charisma.
Yeah.
He's just so great. If he wouldn't have got hurt, like, he was going to be that guy. Like, he was going to be... I mean, he was. I mean, really, he was that guy after WrestleMania 30. Like, he was the John Cena. He was the Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was the guy in the company. And it's really unfortunate what happened to him. I still, even now, like, I love watching him. My eyes are glued to the screen when he's on the television. The segment that he did with The Miz last night, like... gosh, I hope they can... I feel like they're going to force it on us here at SummerSlam.
I think so.
And not let it build out through WrestleMania. But
I think it's going to happen at SummerSlam.
Yeah, so that's a little disappointing.
Yeah.
But, I guess...
It would still be good.
Yeah, it'd be good. It's just... I don't know,
as long of a story.
That huge venue of WrestleMania and the setting is just something special about it. So
yeah.
I wanted to throw in one thing. He's not in my top 5, but I've really felt sort of remiss leaving out The Miz. Like, I think he's the best heel on television, like, bar none. Like, I know people might like Samoa Joe, or guys might like, this one or that one. But for me, like, there's no better bad guy on television than The Miz. So I just wanted to briefly mention him. Next week when we do this, I think we're going to pick out our top 5 women that we would choose if we were going to, I think I've sort of shown my hand over the course of these videos, but of who I really like in women's wrestling. But I might throw a shocker in there. I'm really curious to hear who your top 5 women will be, because I think yours and mine is probably going to be a little bit different here. So, and they've obviously been via this here. So this has been really fun. I enjoyed this. What I'd really be curious is if some of you guys out there that watch this would throw us. Who are your top 5 men wrestlers? I think that'll be fun to check out as well. So we appreciate the support. We're growing our little cult following here, so we're glad that you guys that are watching are enjoying it. We're really happy to see that. So guys, girls, please stop having bad matches. You're ruining my life.